Shalom.
Hello, Rabbi. How's everybody doing?
Okay, good. Sure. Inside. So it's good.
Ah,
No complaints, believe me. Good. How are things with you?
amazing. Baruch Hashem.
So what are you doing these days?
Honestly, not much. Looking for a job. Have some good potential jobs. Interview tomorrow.
Okay.
So looking forward to that. Travel's really not doing so well, so
Sure.
it's gonna pick up. But I just can't wait really any much longer for that.
You got it. Definitely. Totally understand that.
Yeah.
In a certain way, it's, I mean, Sfas is Sfas is a total tourist town. You know, it's tourist. You know, it's a little town, and having people come in, and that's so story after store is closed, and you know, it's just really,
Oh wow.
oh yeah, it's for
I heard
sale.
heard they might be like not letting, but like I guess not making it as strict to wear masks. Maybe.
I don't know.
How's it going?
I don't know what they're going to do because the situation over here is not good in terms of, you know, how numbers have been bad. So anyway,
Yeah, it's getting out of control again there.
it hasn't been great. It's really not a great situation. So, but again, and also, yeah, how long are you going to tell people to wear a mask? How long are you going to tell them to keep distance? How long, you know? So it's very tricky. You know,
Right.
tell a bunch of Jews like follow the rules for months. You know, it's not happening so fast. So,
Rebbe is now the host.
thank you very much. Hope you're doing
No problem. Baruch Hashem, doing okay.
well. Good. Are we doing something for Tisha B'Av?
I don't know. I saw that there's 30 messages on that group, and I've been a little bit under the weather with some vertigo for the last few days, so
Hey.
I haven't really had a chance to look at it. But
Hey. No, it had nothing to do with Tisha B'Av, basically. Is it something that you get? You have a
yeah. No, I get vertigo like about once it happens at once a year. The first time I think I had it was in the Dead Sea in second year Neve, and then it just kept coming back around once a year, and then it lasts for a few days, and it's a little bit rough, but yeah,
Huh.
we're doing okay.
Oh, Fush Shalom.
Shkoyach Rebbe. Okay, I'm gonna sign off, and I'll send another reminder to the group.
Fine.
Shkoyach Rebbe.
Very good. Fush Shalom. I feel good.
Amen. Thanks, Rebbe.
Okay, yeah. Let me just see if I can put this on Facebook, and then we'll try to learn a little bit. You have a Rebbe. You have a Kuti Maran with you?
I do not.
Okay, fine. I put it on a little while ago.
Maybe you uploaded it. I could go into my phone and check it out.
When I put it a few weeks ago. Okay. That's fine. Just go live anyway. One sec. All right. You see it over there? You see it at all, Yaakov? I sent it a couple weeks ago.
No, I don't. I think I might have cleared it.
I'll send it over. If it's okay. You want me to send a picture of it?
Send it, yeah.
Okay. But so I can get this here. We'll see how much of this we can do. Okay. So whenever they're on Facebook watching me, send a picture. That'll probably be very interesting for them. Okay, let me send it onto the group here. Great, let's go. Okay, so we are, let's hit it. Hold on for a second, it's coming through, I hope. Let's go, come on, come on. There we go. Okay, so we are talking about, all right, it should have come through. There you go, okay. So we got the first, I put it out of order. The bottom one is what we do first, all right? So we're talking about finding good points in yourself, and that each point is like a little note. And putting the notes together is part of the procedure of creating music. He's going to explain. The Zeh Bechinas, this is what the idea is, as expressed in the pasuk, Azamra le'elokai ba'odi. The simple idea is that I'll sing to Hashem while I'm alive. Ba'odi means while I still am owed, I'm still here. However, ba'odi daika, he wants to use this term. Why? Ainu al yedei bechinas ha'od shali, because he used the word owed in a different context before. Owed means there's still something good about me. Not that I'm still. Owed means like still. So simple means there's still something, I'm still alive. So I'm going to sing to Hashem while I'm still alive. That's the simple reading of the verse. But since he reused this word and said owed also means still, it means while there's still something good in me. So I'm going to sing to Hashem because there's still something good in me. I can find something good in me. Shali, sha'ani motze ba'atzmi bechinas owed ma'at, the in Russia, because the verse, as the verse said, a little bit and there's no Russia. Meaning if I find that little bit of good in me, I find that little bit of good in someone else, then I'm still good. I can still keep going, right? And that's always the challenge. And again, he's talking about a generation that finds it so hard to find good things about themselves. It's sometimes shocking to me how hard it is for so many people. Al Yedei also in the Kuri, because he found this one thing that he did, this little thing or another little thing. The Al Yedei Zeh Ucho Lezamir Lehodos LaHashem. So it's a little note. I found a note. So, some music that I played. I played music last Tuesday because I did something nice, right? The Zeo Azamra Daika. I will sing. What does it mean? Hainu Zmiras v'nigunim shenasin al yedei shemalake to nakudas tobas. Right? Singing is taking all of the good notes. I forget who I heard it from. That you basically have all good music is basically leaving out the song, leaving out all the notes that are not good. Right? How does he know to make a song? I forget who said this. It makes a song because he leaves all the notes that don't belong. So then he gives the right notes. So if we have a focus on what are the notes, what are the beauty that we find in ourselves and others, that creates music. Anybody who wants to get close to Hashem, how do you do it, right? Imagine, have a private audience with Rabbi Nachman. Say, Rabbi Nachman, how do I get close to Hashem? How do we do that, right? You want to know, right? Rabbeinu, tell me, I'm open, right? So he says that this is the idea. He said he should be very careful to go in this Torah. He said like this. A person shouldn't get totally lost. He feels crushed. He feels like he's given up. People that are distant from Hashem. Well, how does that happen? Is because they're depressed and they're sad.
And they're what?
What?
They're depressed and what?
Sad. They have atzvus, right? They're just depressed. Because they've just fallen. They've fallen from, right? People always say, I had a question on God and this and that. Nobody has questions about God. I'm nobody, but it's not what, people just feel terrible about themselves. They feel terrible about who they are. They feel terrible about, and But very often they'll blame it on Hashem. I'm not saying that that's not something that people do, but it's not philosophical. In an older generation, I touched the end of a certain generation that was very philosophically bent and had to, had questions and answers. And there's, some really great lecturers that I know, but it's not what's bothering people today. That's not what's on their mind. What's on their mind is they feel terrible. They're unhappy, right? The Vay guys come in to ask questions. They come in to, they ask questions because they're miserable, right? They see in themselves, Godel kilkula, shekilkulu masayim. They see how low they've fallen, the kilkul, the damage they've done to themselves and to the people around them. Everybody knows the blemishes, the pain that he has inside of himself. Right? How many people came to Neve or in general walking around thinking about the things that they've done? They can't forgive themselves for it. They can't let go. And they can spend a whole life thinking about, look what I did. So there's a lot of ways of dealing with that. Rabbi Nachman's way of dealing with it is to say, find the good and move on. If you stay with the black, you can't, it's like a black hole. Everything gets sucked in. But they fall. And most of them they find themselves guilty, right? Most of them, there's a whole group of people. Tell them Davido. That was a nice picture, you and the Rebbitzin. That was the Shnaka picture. A lot of nachas. She should have a lot of nachas from you. That's your job. Your job is to have her nachas from you. Don't worry about the other way.
Of course.
I hope she's not hearing this. A person can't daven because he can't let go of what he's done. He thinks, look what I've done. Look how much damage I've caused. Look how many people I've hurt. And therefore he can't budge. He can't move. He's frozen. He's stuck. And Rabbi Nachman understood that stops a person from moving on. How is he supposed to be happy? How is he supposed to be productive? How is he supposed to connect to Hashem? And then it turns into like this intellectual thing. Well, why did Hashem make the world, and why is it suffering? And the answer is, I'm not happy. That's the answer. The answer is, everything is black when I'm black. They're not even able to do anymore what they used to do. You got to use your head. Oh, wow. You started plugging it in over here. Okay, beautiful. Great to see you guys. We're kind of in the middle of this piece with Rabbi Nachman. I said put it on the group if you want to follow it. If not, just speaking it out. It says Rabbi Nachman that what happens to people is they get stuck, not for intellectual reasons. They get stuck for emotional reasons. People, and we all know, when I was like, we're all in the day guys, so we all know. Guys in the day come in, and the reason that they're like having questions and this question is because they're unhappy. Because and why are they unhappy? Because their mind focuses on what they did wrong. Could you imagine what the world would look like, David, if our minds were constantly flipping back to what we did right? Imagine what a strange world it would be. That like every time I'm just like have my mind wanders, I start thinking about, wow, you know what? I did this nice thing and I did this nice thing, right? Could you imagine what it would, as opposed, and the guy down the street, as opposed to like, the guy is such a jerk. He's such a loser. He's such a nuisance, right? And like, but every time your mind just keeps flipping to like, oh, I see, look what he did. Look, he did this, he did this. Rabbi Nachman is trying to help us change our minds so we get out of this terrible pattern of knocking ourselves down, banging ourselves down. Everything when he falls, his world goes, he's like the floor falls out from under him. And because he did do bad things. Let's not kid ourselves from both sides. We all have things we're not pleased with that we did. Im kol zeh, even so, hanefilo shebedaito ba'atzus ba'hamara shchura shenofel alav al yedei zeh. But the falling that he does, and the bitterness and the depression, hagohu rak maisi bal davar. That's the bal davar. Rabosai, if like, please, this my Rebbe used to say this. Rabbi Israel Talbot used to say this. This is the message for us. The averas that we do are not as bad as all of the regret and the repeating of what we did wrong. We all spend time thinking about the things that we have done wrong. And we rehash it in our mind. We rethink it. We rethink it. We rethink it. So we stay there. Rabbi Nachman's begging us, let go. Think about the good things you've done. And the thing that you did wrong, you did wrong. But the living in what was done wrong, that's something that our choice is creating. And that's what people are mostly, right? And that's why most of us, honestly, don't live in the present. Very few people are living in the present. They're very like, right now, there's no past. Nobody did anything wrong right now. Everybody's learning Torah. That's all. That's what's going on, right? And whatever happened before didn't happen. Like, it's not there. So every time we go back to it, it's just like we're not being present, and we're just constantly replaying what happened to us. And the Baal Dover, the Yetzer comes and he smashes us. Chas Shalom. Al Kain Tzrichen His Chazik Ma'od. Rabbi Nachman tells us, got to be very strong in this. Leilech Ima Torah Hazos, to go with this idea. L'chapez l'vakesh ba'atzmo b'chol pam eze ma'at tov. Person should always look for a little bit of good in himself. The nekudas tovos. But both sides, let us try b'li neder. That at the end of the day, we think back on ourselves and we think, what did I do good today? As opposed to kicking ourselves, Chas Shalom. We want to think, what did I do good today? So one thing everybody here can do is they said, I wanted to get some chizik. So I wanted to a shir to hear what Rabbi Nachman has to tell us. Right? Because I want to know, I want to be better. I want to be more connected. I want to be happier. I want to be more connected to Hashem. I want to be more connected to myself. Right? So that's what we should do. We should practice again and again, seeing the good. And Rabbi Nachman knows this so well. You know, he just like, it's amazing how well he knows. And he'll be able to look forward to good things. Yeah. Yuchel ispalo lezamra lehodos l'Hashem. B'chinas lezamra le'elokai bodi. Right? So this way he can come back to Hashem because he's seeing the good. He's not stuck in the mud of the things that he's done wrong. And again, let's be realistic. We do things that are not okay. But if we get stuck in that mud, that's the problem. So again, remember, Rabbi Nachman is telling us, see the good. We have a little more to do, but see the good as opposed to seeing the bad. Live in the present in terms of, as opposed to living in all of the things that we've done wrong. And then, one second, and right. And he's saying there's a deeper idea of making music, of finding the good. But let's hold off on that for a second. Okay. But now, we're going to learn a fascinating concept. Fascinating. But somebody who's able to make music, which means he's looking for the good, he hears the notes in every person, right? Let me just tell you, you guys probably know this, but one of the tricks of a Nevei Rebbe is we don't believe anybody when they walk in. Like, just you should know, like if you ever want to know, like what's like one of my tricks of like being in the Nevei Rebbe, I don't believe anybody. Dude, you don't understand what I did. You don't understand. You know how many people I ripped off? I was one time, I got to tell you a funny story. I was one time in Poland. We were spending Shabbos in Lezhensk, and a guy was drunk, and he leaned over to the other guy, And he leaned up to the other guy. He said, I could fool anybody. And he was like drunk. He was like so into it. And the other guy was like regular, like total, like not particularly, he's not one of those the Bay guys who's like out to, rip everybody off. He said, I could pull off any, And I was thinking, listen, the only guy you can't fool is you. You know what I mean? But when a guy comes in, he said, I did this, I did that, crazy stuff. It's like, dude, you're miserable. You hate yourself. You sometimes think about finding the nearest bridge. Like, don't tell me about all the great things you've done. You know what I mean? Like, who do you, stop. You know what I mean? Like, get a life. You don't have to fool me. You don't have to fool yourself. Like, just be realistic. Be realistic about who you are, what you're doing, where you're up to. So, okay. So now, that's going to be music. That's going to be the music we're going to talk about. He says, no, a person finds all these different little points in people, he can make music. Afilu meha poshe Yisrael. Even people, the poshe Yisrael, Rabosai. Poshe Yisrael means the mechal Shabbos. They, whatever. There's a lot of people doing things which are not so great these days, as you guys know. And even so, hu yochel ispalo livnei amud. Now, he's going to explain to us a concept which you guys think is a very simple thing. A guy davening for the amud. We don't know, I think everybody here knows the term. Davening for the amud means goes to daven in front of the, he's a shliach zibur. How does a guy become a real Baal Tefillah? We're going to learn a big, very interesting yesod. Right? A lot of you guys have good voices, but we want to find out how does it become a Baal Tefillah. A Baal Tefillah is like this. He says, Hu nikra shliach zibur. What's the pshat is a shliach zibur? But sarich sheyeh nishlach mikol hatzibur. A shliach tzibur means he was sent, literally, shliach, he was sent by the tzibur. How did that happen? The Hainu shetzarich sheyikabitz kol nekuda tova shenimsa b'chol echad me'izpalulin. Rabosai, you got to understand, this is beautiful stuff here. What he's doing is he looks around the tzibur and he thinks, wow, Reuven, you know something? He's an honest guy. He's really like straight. Shimon, he's got such a good sense of humor, right? And I remember that time last year when he really helped me out when I needed it. Levi, he's really trying to grow in Torah. Yehuda, I don't have so much to say good about. But on the other hand, the guy had a rough background, and he's really doing his best. So he finds all of the different good points in everybody. That is to say, the music in everybody, and he becomes a shliach tzibur. The shliach means he became a master musician. He's like the conductor. He pulls out a note here, a note there. The violin plays this, the oboe plays this, the cello plays this, the bass plays this, right? The drummer plays this. Everybody's got their part to play in the music. And when he goes into a shul, he doesn't see people. He hears notes, right? When you go into a music studio, right, David, you go into a music studio, the guy who's the bass, he's got the note. He's picking it up, right? He's got the bass line, right? Then the guy who's like the rhythm guitar, he's got it. He's just like, anybody who doesn't get it, you see, listen, this he does well. So a guy goes into shul. A shliach tzibur means he goes in and he's listening to everybody. He's not just standing up there and saying the words. It's much more profound. It's much more powerful than that. The chol nekudas tovas, you nechlalim. He brings in all of the good points. The yotza v'hu yamo the yispalel in kol tovas. And now he davens without good. He thinks, you know how we can go? All together. The zeu shliach tzibur. Let me just tell you, there's a famous story. The Baal Shem Tov used to daven very, very long time. He used to daven like who knows how long. So because he davened so long, the olim didn't stick around. They went out, they just got some air, and sometimes they even have a quick errand to do. So the Baal Shem Tov told him, he said, first of all, even though he did it quietly, he said, when we're davening, we're one unit. He says, it happens to be that I have a certain gift. I'm on the top of the ladder. But without every single one of us together, There's no ladder. The ladder falls apart. I fall. So everybody is together in this picture, right? Everybody's together. You ask somebody in music. So I can speak to David because I know he's a Hashem, a gewaltic musician. But everybody, you ask a person. You got a 5-piece band, right? You got a lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass, drums. Let's say you got a keyboardist, right? Let's say. Now, who's more important? The answer is nobody. It's a unit. You play basketball, right? You got your forwards, you got your guards, you got your center. Who's more important? The difference is nobody. Well, is it possible that your forward is going to be shooting more baskets? For sure. Is it possible that your center is going to have to do some work in the middle and, keeping things blocked out and keeping the, for sure. Are there sometimes better players? Of course. But in general, you've got to have all 5 guys. If you don't have all 5 guys, you know what I mean? Who's most important in the band? You only need 9 guys. You don't only need 8 guys. You take the guy out from right field, and then there's nobody in right field. So the guy just everybody pops it out to right field, right? It depends on what's important and everything. If we look at it in a certain way, so the guy goes into shul. He doesn't see individuals. He sees people with notes. He sees this guy has music to play and this guy's not music to play. He says in this, you call on the kudus to Avim love. So the notes, so to speak, they want to go to him because they realize, wow, this is a guy who wants to see good in me. So they look to him, right? Someone who sees good in others, people they're drawn to him. So he's looking for the good notes. He's looking for the good points, and they want to be connected to him. They want to be included. They want to be next to a person who has this music that he's playing. Right? So this is a higher madrega. This is the madrega of the tzaddik, but this is a madrega each one of us can do. We can each be a person that can look to the good in others and see the good in others and people that are drawn to that. You want to be connected to such a person. Afilu es hakalim v'arishayim, even the people that are mamish lowlights. Ki mishtadil l'champes levakesh limsos kuchulam the kudas tovas, because he's got it in his mind that everybody's good. Everybody's got good things going on. Everybody's got special things. And he's picking up those notes. He picks up, oh, this is a music that you play. You play it beautifully. Right? So there's music being played. That's what the tzaddik's up to. And again, like everything, the tzaddik doesn't mean that we can't touch it. We got to understand what the tzaddik's doing and then try to connect to what he's doing. The tzaddik mamish feels the notes. He mamish feels the beauty. If you ever want to, one of the things, I'm sure you guys have all seen this, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he had Yechidus, when he didn't have Yechidus, when he gave out dollars, everybody got not everybody, but very often he'd stop and praise himself. You got to do this. You've got a job. You've got to do something. This is a job for you. He would see, this is you've got a music. You've got music to play, right? And if everybody's to feel, I've got music to play. There's nobody else can play my niggin except me. Who yochel lios hazon ha'achazin v'shliach. So therefore, it can be a chazan. He can be a person who can lead everybody. The heinali spalo libnei amid. He can daven before the amid. Ki hu yesh bo b'china zu hatzricha l'shliach tzibur hagon nebemis, because he's got the quality of a shliach tzibur. Shetzarik sheyeh bo b'china sheyu kol ha'nekudas tovos to Avim Love, because people want to be connected to such a person. You nechlolim bo v'hu ki hu yochel lakabes kol ha'nekudas tovos shenimtzu b'chol echad miYisrael. He can find the good in everybody. Now, Rabbi, I don't think there's a piece which is it could be any more appropriate than what we're learning here, than in terms of the 9 days. We know Sinas Chinam destroyed everything. But according to Rabbi Nachman, when you have Sinas Chinam, first you're looking at the bad. You don't see any music. You can't get the guy to sing. You can't get him to use his kochos. And you basically tell him, you have no purpose. You're not special, right? The worst thing, one of the worst things that can be done is to feel like you have no purpose, that you're not adding anything, right? How many people? It's one of the poisons of internet. You know, you watch the YouTubes, you watch the Netflix, and everybody, he does this well, he does that well. The idea that just a person who he is, he doesn't have to be doing anything well. He's got special points, right? Everybody's got Nekudas Tobas. And if we don't do that, we're destroying the world. There's no Shliach Tzibur, right? Shliach Tzibur means everybody comes in bringing their own music. Everybody's looking for everybody else's music. Everybody's trying to encourage everybody else's music. Sinas China means you have nothing to add to this music, to this orchestra. You have nothing to add to this, to the music of in this world, to Hashem. Right? But it's like pulling out the plug on a person. Chas v'shalom. So we have to be very, very aware that when we're encouraging what we're doing, we're making music. We discourage, we're mamish making emptiness. I guess once we went this far, let's finish up the piece. I sent it to the guys that are watching. I'm on the second page now, or on the page with the shorter columns. The Dashi Yish B'chol Dor B'Dor Roa. There's a shepherd for every generation. V'hu B'chinas Moshe. Again, so this is on the higher level. Shehu Raya Mehemna. He's like the faithful shepherd. Who Roa, who Osa Mishkan. He makes the Mishkan. V'da Shetinok Shel Beis Rabban Mekablim Hevelpiem. Okay, now he's talking about a little higher level. It's just an interesting thing. He says, the music that we're going to put together and the structure we're going to put together is going to be the highest structure is going to be the base of Mikdash. You need Moshe Rabbeinu or whoever is the Moshe Rabbeinu of that generation. And you need something pure, which is the Torah of the little Kindlech learning Torah, right? Doesn't mean we can't add. But there's something very pure in the base of Mikdash that he's going to be collecting. Okay, Natino Shem Mispalel Likros Lehikanes B'Torah. So therefore, a child, when he begins to reading and coming into Torah, Maskil Min Vayikra El Moshe. That's why we taught the Minhag Yisrael is to start the learning of Chumash for the child. We learn Karbonis. Why? Shehu Elav Zira, because Aleph Zira, there's a small Aleph. Ki vayikra medaber migmar hakamas the Mishkan, because the vayikra has to do with putting up the Mishkan. She'az karu Hashem yizborach v'hizkil ledaber imo me'amishkan. That's when Basham. So again, finding the nekudas. Listen, this is what the Mishkan is all about. Everybody has to collect. Everybody has to contribute. Everybody gives. Everybody has some part to do with the Mishkan, because without everybody in the Mishkan, it's not going to last. That's why the Sinas Kingdom destroys everything, right? Because we have no Mishkan. The Mishkan is made up of the notes of everybody playing. The Al-Kain, Misham, Maschila Natino, but particularly we have the children with their music is so pure. Ki Misham Mekabim Hevel PM. Misham Maschila Likros Likanis El Latar Torah. You know something? I don't want to necessarily stop over here. You know, we have another couple minutes. All right, let's finish up this piece. I just don't want to lose anybody, because we're going to be talking about the tzaddik over here in the Mikdash. So I don't want to necessarily lose the point that everybody here has his job to connect to Torah in his own way. Everybody's leader is a shepherd, right? The leader of that generation, he's like a shepherd. That's why the Avos were shepherds, right? Shepherd is because he knows this sheep does this. He can see the spot, he can see the good things in each one of his sheep. Every one of the tzaddikim, they're like a Moshe Rabbeinu. And each one according to his level. He's like make a mishkan. Right. And every child, every tzaddik, depending on who he is. And he makes a different mishkan, so to speak. There's tzaddikas, there are tinokas that we get from there. Again, I don't want to lose it. I don't want to go too fast. There are tzaddikim in every generation. He is the one that pulls together the Torah, the beautiful Torah from these innocent children. That's why Lower Lane, if children pass away, Lower Lane is considered as part of the generation, because it says, again, they are very much tied into the base of Mikdash. Now, Mishkas Haroim, Shehem Mekablim, Abulpiyam, Bebechinas, and Mishkanos Haroim. I mean, I'm just going to run this. I don't want to just run this through for no purpose. Again, I don't think we're going to get that much more. I don't mean to say that there isn't so much, but the main part of a Zamra for us, in my opinion, is seeing the good in ourselves, seeing the good in others, realizing that everybody has the music that he has to play. There's nobody who doesn't have his place. And that doesn't have his time. Everybody's here for a reason, and everybody's got music to play. And the chiddush of Rabbi Nachman is the way we look at somebody that will create the reality of him having a place, of him having his time. If we don't look at someone specially in a special way, we're literally not giving him an opportunity to make his music. So it's not just a question of we notice, the guy's like doing something good. No, we have to notice that he's doing something good. We're the creators, right? We don't understand how deeply Hashem put into the world that we become creators, right? We think that the world is just kind of going. It's not like that. We create. We're creating by seeing the good. It's a whole way of looking at life. It's like a different way of looking at life. It needs work. It needs work. It needs chizuk. It needs, gotta like, constantly working on seeing that good, seeing the good in ourselves and in others, realizing that there's music being played. And if we come across somebody that we feel like can't see anything good in the guy, you can't stand the guy, then stop and catch yourself and say, hey, how could I be that? How could it be that in Hashem's world I can't find anything good about this guy? Again, I'm not talking about the Rishon. He's talking about even Poshi Yisrael, like even wicked, really bad Jews are doing bad things. Right? But on the other hand, I don't think we have to, like we said before, I don't think the people that are doing terrible things in the non-Jewish world, we have to go out of our way for. Right? There is such a reality that they can just lose any connection from good. But that's not our point. Our point is seeing the good, and that we create the music. We create the Shalik Tzibur. So when you next time you go up to daven for the Yomid, if anybody goes to daven for the Yomid, you should realize I'm not just saying words. I'm trying to collect all of the beautiful things that everybody has over here and make them together. You go into a room, you see different shoes. We're gathering sparks. Rabbi sign, we should have an easy Tisha B'Av, a meaningful Tisha B'Av. We should celebrate in the base of Mikdash. Everybody should, whatever. We don't know what the Baruch Shem wants, but he surely does want us to see good in each other. He does want us to help each other. No question about it, right? This has separated us. This whole Corona thing has separated us, put us in our rooms, our separate spots. And we want to be together because together we can build. Hashem should help. Gentlemen, Meir, thank you for joining us. I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm wishing you brachos. Everything good for you guys. And Hashem, hopefully we'll be celebrating soon.
Oh, man. Thank you, Rabbi, so much.
Very good. Okay. Sei gesund.
Have a good night.